So, seeing as I'm back on YouTube, finally after all this time, I thought I would finish my reviews for the Fast and Furious movies leading up to Fast X. Now, originally I was meant to review this as a lead up to F9, but I all of a sudden stopped making videos for some reason. To be honest, there has been a lot of stuff happening in my personal life that has caused that. And some of that is the reason why I'm now doing these Fast and Furious reviews in front of a green screen instead of in my car. Because if you were watching those videos beforehand, you would have seen I was driving while doing those reviews. And I made it a point that these lead up of Fast and Furious reviews would be me driving to keep with the theme of, Fast and Furious. But unfortunately, life and circumstances has forced me to do it this way if I'm going to meet the deadline of reviewing all of these movies up until potentially the last Fast and Furious movie. I mean, that's what we are being told. So sit back, enjoy all my thoughts on the Fast and Furious movies, because we have finally made it up to Fast and Furious 6, which is actually a pretty good movie. When it first came out, I wasn't that, excited about it, because by comparison, Fast 5 is just much better. It's just a more well-rounded film, in my opinion. This was always a debate between me and my dad, who also watches the Fast and Furious movies, and he loves this movie, loves it. But I do acknowledge and see the good things in it. One of them being the biggest selling points of this movie, which is that Letty has returned. We thought she died in Fast and Furious 4, but she's back. And this franchise a lot of franchises do this. They kill off characters and then bring them back. It's just movies in general. If you don't see them actually die, then they're probably still alive. It was bittersweet seeing her back, though, in that I was happy that they brought the character back, because I did like her so much from the previous films. I don't think I ever mentioned it, but I did really like her as a character. But at the same time, she doesn't remember any of these people. And you have to wonder what is going through the characters' heads while this is happening. Especially what is going through Dom's head. I mean, not only is his ex-girlfriend still alive, but he has to deal with that, and the fact that he was just with someone. That really doesn't get explored that much at all. Just at all. That was always one of my gripes with this movie, is that there are story elements that they could explore in this movie, and maybe they just choose not to because it would have been awkward.
Sexy as hell.
The fact that Dom now that he just ups and leaves his current girlfriend for his ex-girlfriend, even though he thought she had died. It's a very weird situation that I would have liked some sort of explanation for, but by the end, they're just not a thing. And another big selling point from the trailer is that they are going up against themselves, essentially, which is explained perfectly by Roman. Can I just say this about Roman? He has got to be one of the characters that in these movies that I can't do without. He has to be in these movies. Besides Dom Toretto, he is one of the characters that I can't imagine these movies without, because he has such a presence in the movie, in every movie, that if he weren't in it, it just wouldn't be as memorable. When you walk away from a Fast and Furious movie, you have Roman in your head. And what they do with the fact that they are going up against themselves in some scenes is really interesting. The fact that Letty has to go up against herself, and the fact that Roman and Han essentially are going up against a version of Han that fights better, I guess. Look, it's not the most important part of the story, it's just fun to see. And I will say this, the action in this movie, especially the car chases, have been improved. They just keep getting better and better and better with each movie, and especially in this movie, with whatever those cars are called that the bad guys were driving, they were badass. Bring them back. Okay, I need to gush about one thing, and this one thing is finally what I've been looking for. This movie does what none of its predecessors could do, and what it is actually have a good villain. I don't know what it is, but from this movie onward, we seem to have good villains now in the Fast and Furious franchise. Luke Evans does such a good job as this villain, and you don't really know too much about him. You don't get to know his past, really. You don't understand his motivation until later movies, which is actually kind of a compliment to Luke Evans as an actor. The fact that he made this villain so memorable that they brought him back later which is spoilers for future movies, but regardless of that, they make this villain very intimidating in that he's intellectually superior than them. He is further ahead in the race, I guess you could say, as compared to the rest of the team, because Dom's all about family, and this guy just isn't, and he uses that to his advantage. And the fact that Dom is about family, he knows how to play him. Yeah, I can't stress it enough. Luke Evans does such a good job in this movie as this villain. I don't know why they didn't have villains this good until now. I don't know what else I can say about this movie. It's got lots of great humor that, for the most part, works. In fact, I don't think there was one joke in this movie that just didn't make me feel happy, at least. And this is the part of this film series, this franchise, where it's not too big and over the top that it's unbelievable. It's right in that perfect spot where what you're seeing on screen is a bit over the top, but it's believable enough to see the characters doing what they're doing and say, oh yeah, this is actually happening. Anyway, that is my review for Fast and Furious 6. I am sorry that I wasn't driving. Let me just say this. I don't know if I will be able to, film my review driving for Fast 9 or even Fast X. We'll see how it goes. I will do my best, and I will of course keep you updated during my reviews. I will see you in my review for Furious 7, which is explained, besides Dominic Toretto, and the fact that Roman and... Because Dom's all about family. Anyway, that's my review for